yeah, we decided to go ahead and try to get a bulk buy. So this is like crowdsourcing. So the more of these products that people buy on St. John, the lower the prices that we can get. So we're trying to set up a good relationship with EcoFlow. I will be honest, I haven't bought an EcoFlow product. I've seen them, I've touched them, and we have one of their competitors here, and I'll roll it around and we can talk about that a little bit during the brief. But that's an Anker product. They're both made in China because we're going for affordability. And quite frankly, I'll say this on the record, China is getting ahead of us right now from a solar technology perspective. They lead in lithium ferrophosphate batteries, they lead in solar, and it's really unfortunate. We do sell, and I'm going to talk about solar panels, we sell an American-made panel to a company called Silfab. There's another company called Mission Solar that we sold for a lot of years, but other distributors stopped carrying it for some reason. So it's hard for American companies to compete against China because it's partially government funded. And so I believe in buying American where I can, but if the product is better, come on in, Frankie, quick, ready. Yeah, here, have a seat. Sit right here, buddy. Thanks for coming, buddy. So, you know, a lot of times we're forced to choose a Chinese product, right? You're not going to pay 50% more for something. So there's just a balance, and you know, ethically, I think about that a lot with our company especially. But EcoFlow, what happened is I think it was Anker. There were a bunch of engineers that worked for Anker, and they didn't like what they were doing. So they went off, they were engineers, they created their own company, and that's EcoFlow. So to me, being an engineer, I think that's a great thing, right? You know, and so they created this company, and their product, I always saw that as the top tier product, and they are increasing their product line all the time too. So they're actively working in updating these products. So the EcoFlow products are great. Let me jump in. So yeah, that's what I was talking about, EcoFlow. So we chose 3 different models. I like to go with the McDonald's theme, small, medium, large, right? So we got 3 of them, $1,000, and I'll just switch. So what do we have? We have a $1,000 one, $3,000 one, and $5,000 one, right? We like the Delta 2 Max, the smallest one, because it's easy to pick up. It's actually really portable, because you can pick it up. The other 2 have their own wheels and casters. It's the same as the Anker one, the Solix that I have here. And of course, the bigger the unit, the more hours you can go off grid, and the higher the cost. They're also modular and flexible. So they have lots of inputs, lots of outputs, and you can stack batteries. You can pair them together if you want more power. So if you buy one, let's say you buy the smallest one, and you want to expand your power, you just put 2 of them together and they pair together, and you could have twice the power and twice the battery. So they're super flexible. They're like Lego blocks. As an engineer, I love Lego, and these systems go with that philosophy. I do have to go through a few definitions, and I apologize. We're going to get into a little bit of math, and there are some worksheets we can hand out. But the main problem that we have, well, let me hit DC versus AC. DC stands for direct current. That's what you have in your car. If you have a boat, that's typically your predominant system that you use on your boat. 12 volts and 24 volts are common in marine applications. The AC is like what you have in your house. It's alternating current. It goes up and down in a sine wave. And actually, it's interesting. The electrons, they just shift back and forth. They don't travel. In DC, the electrons actually move through the wires. In AC, they just move back and forth, which is sort of interesting. If you're a geek like me, PV stands for photovoltaic. That stands for solar panel, just synonymous. Okay, I'm going to talk volts, amps, and watts real quickly. So volts, that is in your house. Typically, a single feed is 120 volts. We're going to talk about that a little bit because it's important when you're trying to calculate your power and your energy. Amps is, if you think of a pipe, water in a pipe, volts is like the pressure, amps is like the amount of flow going through the pipe. watts is volts times amps. So if you think about high pressure, amount of high flow, that's a lot of watts. So that's disassemble. So what about it? Watt hours is energy. So that's a watt over a period of 1 hour. And we can, when we take that baseline, then we can change it to a bunch of other things. We can talk about a watt hour over an entire day. We can talk about it over 10 minutes. We can talk about it over any period. We can say, here's how much energy you're using during that period of time. And we're gonna do that a little bit. Then of course, kilowatt is 1,000 watts. And they're abbreviated. Watt hour is WH, kilowatt hour is kWh. Oops, I left out a K. Woke up at 5 this morning. This is pretty good. Okay, so continuing with the definitions, I didn't talk about, these are portable power stations. That's the term that industry is using to describe these units. They're portable and they provide power. They have multiple types of AC and DC inputs. I will talk about them. Actually, why don't I just do it now? I'll roll this up here right now. They're so portable, they are pretty. One around R2D2. Yeah. So these are the input power. So you can put solar in here.
Bring it out, bring it this way a little bit more. I
Sure.
think that people can see over here.
Can everybody? So this is an Anchor Solix. I bought this for testing about a year ago. We've been using it in our house. It has a fundamental flaw that if we leave it on for a long period of time, it won't start up. I mean, that's just, to me, a show killer, right? It has been during these recent outages, though. I think they did a firmware update. Because, Karen, we haven't had any problems with this recently, have we?
Yeah, it's been getting better.
Yeah.
It's real touchy on like the on and off button.
Yeah.
This is not EcoFlow.
Right. This
That's
is
what I
it.
say. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in.
Morning, Bill.
Have a seat. Yeah, please. Grab another seat. There's one right over there. Don't you?
Yeah.
Come on in. Welcome.
You got here just in time. So many. So here's all. These are all the inputs. You can see this big tether cable. I'll talk about the Delta Pro 3, the middle one. And both actually the Delta 2 Max and the Delta Pro 3 have a flexible cord like this, and they just have these monster big connectors. And so if you buy an extra battery for those, you have to connect them with a connector like this. You can see in this picture on the Delta Pro Max, they fixed this by having a 90-degree angles receptacle or sockets. So that is nice and clean. I mean, you can see when you look at this, if this is the competitor with that, you can see how much nicer that is designed. That's one battery, and you just keep stacking the batteries underneath. But one of the drawbacks is that's 181 pounds. This one, just with a single battery, is, I think it's like 130. We carried it up, right? And it's not too bad. And it has a nice handle that comes up and it tilts. This is more like the Pro Ultra, that it has its own wheels and rolls around. The Ultra has a set of casters that you set it on and you roll it around. So when I say portability, I'm putting it in quotes. It's not easily portable, right? These things, you don't want to move them all the time. Whereas the smallest one, the Delta 2 Max, you can pick it up and take it with you camping or whatever. So they have multiple types of AC and DC. Like I said, solar goes here. This is a plug that goes into your wall socket. This is the only input power you can use for this unit, which is the big drawback of it. It will allow 1,400 watts of pass-through. In other words, during the last outage 2 nights ago, where power was going out in the middle of the night, I was like, I want to go to sleep, but I don't want to run my battery. I don't want to plug it in and run everything, our air conditioner and everything off of it. So what I did is I plugged this into the wall, and then I plugged the air conditioner in directly into the wall socket over on this side, and it passed through that power, and then when the power went out, the battery took over. So that's a use case for it. With the EcoFlows, they allow 240 volt pass through. And so you can actually hook it to a generator, or you can wire it into your house if you have a good electrician that works for you, and put an auto transfer switch in there, and then it would switch automatically and you could have power in your house. So, and I can talk about that with anybody offline of how to get that done if you're interested. Trista's working on, she already has a transfer switch. If you have a generator transfer switch already, you can just use this. And then you can plug it into the input WAPA side and then have it go out to your house. But you have to be in between that. I'll explain it. That's slides. Oh, the other difference is you have Tesla Powerwalls. We have our Fortress True Envy inverters. Those are all whole home backup. These units are typically not set up for entire home backup, right? You're not going to buy enough battery storage to power your house with your water heater and your dryer and all those things. You know, these are meant to power part of your house, the most important things. Those most important things we call critical loads. Okay, quickly, I'm going to jump through this sort of fast because not a lot of people, and I can work with you offline if you want to do this. But what I thought was important for the community to understand is when I'm sitting there saying in the advertisement, you know, that the small power station will power your 2 fans, 2 lights, and a refrigerator, which is your basic stuff, right? During Irma, that's what you'd like to have. And it powers it for 6 hours. How do I calculate that 6 hours? Because everybody has different loads. It was funny this morning when I was doing some of the calculations with the refrigerator, I was thinking with me and Karen, and me, we closed the refrigerator pretty fast most of the time. But my son, if he's making a peanut butter, well, he doesn't make peanut butter. If he were making a peanut butter jelly sandwich, he'd leave the refrigerator open while he's doing his stuff. You know, and if you have kids, your refrigerator is going to use more energy. So that's just an example of how to do that. But the columns, you know, the power in watts, you can find that on the nameplate of the unit. The big thing is amount of time per day. So if you have the nameplate data and it says it's using 10 watts or 100, let's say 100 watts, like that refrigerator, the amount of time per day that it's actually running at full capacity is not 24 hours. It's only on, because you'll hear the compressor coming on and off. If you're not opening it up a lot, it'll be on for 6 hours or so. And then we take the power times the hours, and that's how we get watt hours. You take a watt, multiply by an hour, you get a watt hour, right? That makes sense. And so another way that you can get those watt hours, super simple, are by these little smart plugs. Actually, I wanted to bring some to give away. They're super cheap. You can buy a 3-pack for like 25 bucks. These things are amazing. It works with Alexa, it works with, what's the other one? Google Home. So any of those smart speaker things that you buy, you can just say, lights turn off. It'll turn off your lights, or whatever's plugged into this thing. Turn off your fan. And it also takes energy use, and that energy use is fully available. Well, I was going to show it, but I'm not going to. But Emporia is the leader in home energy measurement. The other thing, if you buy the whole home one, which we sell in our store, I think it's $500 installed if we install it for you. That's not too bad. The great thing, if you do all of your circuits, each one of those goes in your breaker panel on a circuit. If you use that, we've had customers that measure all of their circuit on their main breaker. WAPA's given them a WAPA bill that's twice as much as what this thing calculated. And they've taken that to WAPA, and WAPA right now, because so many people are hitting them, that they'll just refund your WAPA bill if it's not accurate. We've had some really big ones too. I'm talking $500 extra a month. Like, it's ridiculous. So,
So that little thing can see.
not this one.
But I mean, it can tell you.
It can tell you what you're using on that circuit, that plug. And they have another one with larger CTs. So the refrigerator I was talking about, a normal refrigerator is between 100 and 200 watts. Actually, I looked at our refrigerator and I had a slide prepped. our refrigerator max power with the ice machine and all the different pieces was 650 watts. I'm like, I can't put that in my brief. But our old refrigerator was 150 watts. The new one, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We turn the ice maker on and off as needed.
Yeah. If you're in an IRMA situation, the point is if you have one of those nice refrigerators with ice maker and all that stuff, turn those things off because they're sucking down a lot of power. So that's that piece. So in this example, we have 150 watts for 6 hours, so you're using 900 watt hours per day. Some fans. I did some tests this morning with that fan right there, with this guy, and I found out it was on low, it was 30 watts, on high, it was about 40 watts. And remember, through an entire day, you're only going to use that fan for, let's say, and I'm thinking of an IRMA situation here, right? You're only going to use that fan for 12 hours a day while you're sleeping. Let's say you sleep for 12 hours. Or you got to watch some YouTube beforehand. So you want the fan on you while you're winding up. So 12 hours. It's just a guess. And again, this is just my guess, but this is how I calculate things. Some lights, great. You have LED lights. I had one on for 24 hours. The rest were on, when you go to bed, you cut your lights off, that kind of thing. Starlink. We now have the Starlink. I was going to measure how much power and our Starlink is working, by the way. You can hit on our Wi-Fi.
No.
And the thing is, you have Starlink and you plug it into one of these things, and that one I think pulls 50 watts. You have unlimited broadband internet that's sipping power and energy. Like that capability during IRMA would have been amazing. So we bought a mobile one for our truck because when we go to work sites, we don't have internet during Cold Day a lot of times. And Francis Bay where we're working as well. So Starlink is amazing. I wish we didn't have to buy it, but that's the only game in town right now. I use our bigger version of Starlink, which is 75 watts. And the other thing about Starlink real quick, it's based on your usage. It ups the power. If you're streaming a video and it's downlinking the whole time, the power draw goes up about 25 to 30 watts. That's sort of interesting. Water pumps. So water pumps are an interesting piece. The power of a water pump is really high when it starts. It actually surges to 3 kilowatts. I put 1 kilowatt because it's the continuous. We're talking about energy. But if you look at, for example, your refrigerator that's operating 150 watts, but a long period of time, 6 hours, then you pull in 900 watts. Come on in. But if you are using your water pump, and I put in here 1 hour a day, then it's using a kilowatt. Actually, and I lowered that, it should be about 30 minutes a day. Your water pump comes on for about 2 minutes, 3 minutes while it fills your accumulator tank, and then it shuts off. So I probably should have lowered that a little bit, but the math is easy. But the main thing is you can see that the energy usage per day for that is pretty low. And then I put other loads. There's always little, you plug it in a charger for your phone and all that stuff. So I had that in there. So if you total all those columns up, you get 4,100 watt hours divided by 24. And then we get an average of 171 watt hours per day. So when we're looking at how to calculate it, and I'm going to go through the example of how to do that piece, we're looking at 171 watt hours average. Air conditioner. So again, talking about the difference between power and energy, air conditioners are really energy hungry because they're on a lot. And they pull a typical wall unit, your typical air conditioner you would buy at Home Depot or whatever, is going to pull 1,200 watts. And it's going to be on a lot because that compressor is really inefficient. I would not recommend running a wall unit air conditioner, just the standard ones on these. But you can see we went from 171, we had an air conditioner, and now we've tripled our energy consumption. Does that make sense? This is why air conditioners are difficult. There are energy efficient air conditioners. We actually sell them. There's one right there for sale. These are they sell them at Home Depot too, the same brand. These are GE Profile. It's their ultra energy efficient line is Profile. So if you're looking for anything from GE, a really reliable product, look at their Profile stuff. But that one uses I put in 1,000 watts. We've been measuring ours that we have at home, and it's on about 30% less than the other one, so 7 hours. So then you get 7 kilowatt hours as opposed to 12 with a typical wall unit. If you do the math for those, on your WAPA bill, the extra energy consumption of a energy efficient one, if you do that math, these GE Profile air conditioners pay for themselves within like a year or two. So it's, again, you got to have money to save yourself money. If you buy that more expensive one up front, I think we sold this one for $700 or so. It pays for itself very quickly. So I just want to go back. I have 2 consumption cases. We have the one that's the slimmed down, just refrigerator, lights, and some fans, right? That would be like a post-Irwin thing. But I also wanted to do one, if you bought the energy efficient air conditioner and you have enough solar connected, you can, off-grid, run that air conditioner at night. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. That's $463 as compared to the earlier one where we said $171. So we doubled. This use case is more for the bigger EcoFlow Pro Ultra. But I did want to talk about it because honestly, that's my use case. I can throw our new house, we haven't put solar on it, but I love air conditioning this time of year, to be honest. And that's the higher end, so I'm going from low into high, right? So going back to that math that we were talking about, the first one, the Delta 2 Max, if you're not running the air conditioner, you just have the fans, refrigerator, and lights, you can go for 12 hours. That's that upper row. And that's on battery only. That's with no solar or anything. If you're using the Delta Pro 3, you can go for 24 hours without any charging. So that's a pretty long time. And of course, the Pro Ultra is going to go for 36 hours. If you're using that air conditioner, the Delta 2 Max will power all that stuff for 4 hours, which is pretty good. So if you're just trying to get through the WAP outage, the bad thing about the 2 Max though in that scenario is it's not going to be hooked to your house. You're going to have extension cords run into it, right? With the Pro 3, you can go 9 hours. So if you're talking about a typical WAP outage that's going to last for, let's say, 2 to 6 hours, you're covered with that middle ground one for $3,000. And then the Pro Ultra can go 13. When typically I'm thinking about it in an I'll go to this. So I'm going to talk about the 2 use cases. So one use case is just a short WAPA outage, 4 to 6 hours. So when we're looking at these, those times are good. If you're talking about a multi-day WAPA outage caused by a hurricane or a generator blows up, or both generators blow up, then you want to be prepared for infinite power, right? So how do you prep yourself from that? That's where solar comes in. This was a slide from one of my previous presentations, but I thought it was super interesting. One is when you look at the globe, that's the cost of electricity. So when you talk about these systems paying for themselves and the solar that you can use, the great thing is in St. John, we have about 30% more solar than they do in Virginia or Massachusetts. In other words, you take a panel, you lay it up, put it on your roof. Let's say we lay it flat, just comparing 1 to 1, that we down here get about 30% extra. So for us, solar is more of an economic choice. Plus that solar panel, if we're offsetting WAPA, is 42 cents a kilowatt hour as compared to, 15 cents in Virginia where my parents live. But you can see the percentages up there, 34% more solar at half the cost. So when you see all the industry standard and all the advertisements online, they're marketing those people. We're not marketed to, and that's why solar is more valuable. We have more solar here on St. John than typically you'll see in the state. And solar lasts forever. Actually, that picture up there, that's from High House, Vince and Frankie. Those panels are 50-watt panels installed in like 1982 or 83, and they still work. See how brown they are? I was like, these panels are trashed, right? And these old guys that had the wet cell batteries, they're all, Nelson's like shaking his head, like, yeah, this is why we love solar. That's incredible to me. 82, 83, we're 40 years, is that 40? 40 years ago, that was purchased. That to me, we don't have reliability like that on St. John. If you talk about wind generators, you don't see them because they all corrode up. So to me, that just gives me chill bumps. Anyhow, back hurricane usage. The 2 Max, oh shoot, I left it off. It has 1 port, and I'll talk to the 2 Max. It has about half the power of the Delta Pro 3. It allows 2 of these panels to be connected, max. And so I apologize for that mistake. Oh, there it is, the single port up to 1 kilowatt. So it will take up to 2 of those panels. The Delta Pro 3 has 2 ports. One of them is a high input that can go up to 150 volts max, which is 3 of these panels strung together. So you can string them together in a proper way, and you can get up to 1 kilowatt continuous out of that. So during the middle of the day, when it's getting max load, those can provide up to 1,000 watts to charge your batteries. And then with the Pro Ultra, and I'll show this on the last slide, that can take up to 14 solar panels. It has a very high voltage up to 600 volts, and up to 450 volts. So when you string panels together, they each have like 40 some volts. So you can go up to 600 volts per string. I'm not going to make everybody tired and bored, but you can string a lot of panels and get up to 5,600 watts total out of that. So when we talk about using an air conditioner, this will charge the batteries while you're consuming electricity, and it will power your house. And so you can go infinitely after an Irma situation with a bunch of solar panels, 16 solar panels. Oh yes, and for this sale, if anybody wants to buy panels, this is a bare bones. We're not making any money, but we're offering them at $250 a piece. So if you want to buy any solar panels for the next till Monday night, Monday noon, you can get them for $250 a piece on our website. I'm going to give you guys coupon codes. I still have to set them up, but I'm going to give everybody coupon. We're going to put it on Facebook too. So for the special pricing for the panels, that's going to be included. And there's more cost savings. We have a raffle. If you're going to be buying something, you get a raffle ticket. There aren't that many people there, so
Right.
we're going to do 400, 100, 50. What do you want to do?
There's not, it depends on how many people are gonna order.
Yeah,
Right.
if you're ordering something,
Then we'll
you
wrap
can
it.
get a discount. We'll do that at the end.
Okay.
The other thing I do want to say is the 30% federal tax credit, because of the big beautiful bill, has been destroyed. So it lasts through the end of this year. So if you are a home,
I'm about to say,
I heard on news article the other day, I think it's the end of September.
I'll have to relook at that, but I looked it up 2 weeks ago, and it was through the end of the year. They can't do it mid-year. They have to close it out in January 1st. But we'll look that up and give people more info on that. We'll
Yeah,
post it on
exactly.
our
We can
website.
do whatever.
If it's changing all the time. This is the problem, right? And rules are changing. I can sit there and tell you something, but again, with the government the way it is. Also, I'll talk quickly about the Virgin Islands Energy Office. The slides got messed up. There we go. Virgin Islands Energy Office, they have several programs. There's the ERIE, that you can get direct rebates on energy efficient appliances like that air conditioner. And it honestly, like, they pay for most of it. So you almost get it for free. So if you go to their website and you click on ERIE, you can get more information on that. They also have the VIBES program, which is $300 per kilowatt hour of battery storage. And so and that's a direct rebate. It takes a little bit to get them to pay you, but that money has come in. We've had some customers successfully get their full rebate.
we need the transfer switch for that, though, right?
Yes. Yeah, it needs to be installed by an electrician. and you need to have an automatic transfer switch or an internal UL 1741 approved switching device. They just want to make sure that people are installing their stuff safely. That's the main reason. I'm going to go back because I was out of order. Let's just quickly talk about pass-through and input and output. I mentioned it before, so if you look at this unit, if you have just, and I'm going to take out solar and generator, you can input those as well. But if you have just the AC plugged into your wall socket, like I said, it will pass through that wall socket power. It will not charge the batteries at the same time. The way that they designed, and EcoFlow is the same way, they just have a bi-directional inverter. The inverter acts like a battery charger, so they can't run them both at the same time. But what they can do is they can pass through WAPA, and then the batteries sit at whatever charge they are, just waiting for an outage. So if you have stuff plugged in, that's the way that works. With the larger ones, the Pro 3 and the Pro Ultra, you do have a 240 volt generator plug that you can plug into there. That's going to be, you can either get this, I forget the names of these, I have it written down on the last one, but here, actually, I'll just switch to it. Sorry, I don't know what this was. Oh, there it is. No, I can find it. Sorry. But the the round 240 volt plug from a generator, or you can use one of the dryer plugs. These are at 50 amps, these are at 30 amps. That's the main difference. But the Pro Ultra can go up to 50 amps pass through. And so on that one for our house, we do have a transfer switch and we are able to pass that through, but this unit doesn't allow that 240 volts. So that's why we can run off a battery into our house, but we can't do any pass through. So that's a problem with this unit. And that's actually was a deal killer for me with this. So also with these two units, you can buy their EcoFlow Smart Panel. Our price, I think right now is right around $1,200. They're typically on their website, they're selling them at like $1,400 or $1,500 right now. We're giving a little bit of discount. But if you get the home panel, the smart home panel, the electrician puts that on your wall, you have your thing there, it plugs in, and then it's your entire home backup, or whatever critical loads panel they set up. So you can set up a separate panel with all your refrigerator, your lights, your air conditioner if you want it. So these guys offer a lot of options. Is how we use them.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
If you have it set up for a pass-through, does it compromise the life of the batteries, or is it the same? Like if it wasn't set up as a pass-through,
So
is it
remember-
kind of the same battery
Yeah.
longevity?
No, that's a good point. You're not using your battery at all. You're not cycling it at all. So it's not hurting the batteries.
Okay.
That's a fair point. And honestly, that's for our home backup systems. We don't like to charge the batteries at night. We just say when they get down to a certain level that you switch over to WAPA and you're just using WAPA, so we're not cycling those batteries. And EcoFlow, I think they've just extended, the whole industry has gone from 10 years on batteries to 15 years to the lithium ferrophosphate, the newer batteries. So that's a big deal too. Any other questions? This set of questions, this pass-through thing, for me personally, is the biggest deal because that's how you want to use it. You don't want to, that WAPA outage when you're on the rolling blackout and you know the blackout's going to occur at 2 in the morning, I don't want to have to set an alarm and wake up. I want it to just work. And so for us, this is just not the way we're going to use it. So yeah, that's that. The sale. So if you go to our web store, there is down here, EcoFlow sale. You can click on, and it will bring up all the products. And I'm gonna get those coupon codes. We're gonna publish it on Facebook. If you have friends that want to get the discount, you can still get it until Monday afternoon. So I'm gonna make the coupon code good till noon Monday. So you got tonight, tomorrow, you know, if you have friends that want to buy one of these, the main thing is the more that we get, the lower we can get those prices down. So, and we're going to be stocking this product, and we just wanted to crowdsource it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When would we expect the unit to arrive on Island?
Good question. 4 weeks or so. Typically, I say 4 to 6, but we're going to be right on top of this. Rusty's already started the conversation with EcoFlow. The hard thing is, if you wanted to buy this off of Amazon, you would not be able to ship it here because it'll hit Miami, and you need a very detailed list that's from the person, the manufacturer, that says, here's how the batteries are. And it's a government document, and they do not deviate from it. So fortunately, we've got a good relationship with EcoFlow. We've already started that process with them to ship those batteries here. I mean, we're shipping $100,000 batteries every month, so we're just used to it. Any other questions?
What's the advantage of buying the Delta Pro 3 rather than 2 Delta 2 Max?
One is ease. Let's look at the price. This might be a good question. I love this. The prices are all there. Sorry. So the Pro Max is going to be like 5,600, or sorry, is 4,800. 2 Pro 3s is going to be 6,000.
No, the other way around, like the Delta 2 Max. Like you got 2 of those as opposed to the Delta Pro 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The issue with that would be you wouldn't have any 240 input.
Okay.
So you couldn't power up.
You have a transfer switch.
And yeah. But that's a good question. And you need to, and that's what I'm saying, like, you need to run the math in your head. There's also, we're gonna do spare batteries too. I didn't put the pricing on here, but if you want a spare battery, talk to me. You know, like the Pro 3, and to me, like, that's the best value. You could, and if you had $6,000, you know, you could get 2 Pro 3s, or sorry, the Pro 3s, and wire them together, and that would give you quite a bit of power at 240 output. It's just what you're going to want to think about is what do you want down the road. So sometimes it's best just to get the Ultra, and then you just keep stacking batteries in there because it provides the power that you want. Whereas the Pro 3s would be a little bit limiting for you. So you just have to think long term. Here's where I see myself in 3 years. So where am I going to start?
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
How long does it take to charge from dead? Like with the solar panel and with the Bobra?
Good question. I'm going to put specs up there. There we go. That has all this stuff on there. So if you were going to run down which one?
It
Pro
doesn't
3?
matter. Yeah,
Let's use the Pro 3.
Yeah.
So that battery in there is 4.1 kilowatt hours. If you were to run it all the way down and you're just going to charge it off the wall socket puts out 1,400 watts. You can see the charging here is down to about 1.4 kilowatts. So it will charge. Yeah. It's going to charge at that 1,400 watts, so a little less than 4 hours to recharge it from nothing up to full. From Wampa, yeah. No. It's the max that port will allow to come in.
So no matter how you charge it, you're saying from dead it's 4 hours.
For the middle one, yeah.
The middle.
Yeah. And the Pro
And then
Ultra.
2 hours for the Delta 2 Max.
Yeah. Because the battery is smaller.
Right, and then 7 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the smaller the battery, the faster it's going to
Right.
get a full rate. And what was I going to say there? The other thing is if you have solar, even just a couple panels, like 2 of these guys at 460 watts each, you can put for all of those, let's say in the lowest case, the 2 Max, you're going to be charging at close to 1,000 watts continuous. So if that battery were dead, you could charge off solar in 4 hours. So then you get yourself into, like if you're just powering your fans and your refrigerator and stuff, you could almost go indefinitely with the small guy just powering your house. I would prefer to have a larger battery. Battery just gives you longevity. So yeah, that's basically it. That's what I had. Any other questions? Awesome, we're done.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you to Trista for doing all the work. She's the one that set it all up.
What was the Einstein sign?